The Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. Jimmy Butler versus TJ Warren, the matchup that I've been waiting for. And yes, I know I'm a Heat fan, but I pride myself on being a very objective NBA fan.
Cap.
Not counting the most recent game because the Heat basically had none of their starters out there. The Miami Heat won all 3 of the other matchups that they had against the Pacers this season. And 2 of those games were in pretty dominant fashion. Offensively, these teams are pretty neck and neck in most of the important categories. The Heat do outscore the Pacers on a game-to-game basis by about 3 points. But the Pacers are the second most effective team in terms of field goal percentage, right behind the Lakers this season. Both of these teams pride themselves on being really good at passing, as they rank 6th and 7th with around 26 assists a game. I think the main thing that differentiates them offensively is the fact that the Miami Heat are the second best team in terms of 3-point percentage in the entire league. And the Miami Heat are one of the more effective teams in the league, ranking 7th in points per game per every 100 possessions. Now, I would say the Miami Heat, being a more younger core, and even the Pacers somewhat, do have a problem with turning over the ball. But I have seen Miami kind of alleviate from that issue as the season has went on. One thing I will say is the Pacers do look a little bit different than they did mid-season. Arguably their best player in Victor Oladipo is back, and although he's not 100% healthy, he's making his way back to the form that he used to have. And with the emergence of TJ Warren as being a certified bucket, this could be a very interesting series. Now, I will say that he did look kind of sluggish in their last matchup, and it was reported that he was dealing with some type of foot injury, but he is primed to return in the first game of the playoff series. And if that injury was not concerning enough, we still don't know when the Pacers all-star Domantas Sabonis will return. And the Heat themselves may have lost Derrick Jones Jr. for the rest of this series to what looked to have been a pretty serious injury. In a recent matchup that these two teams had in the NBA bubble, the Pacers did not really play very well. And with TJ Warren being pretty much shut down in that game, they couldn't really find a scoring option to replace his production. Victor Oladipo has been dealing with a serious injury, and even Malcolm Brogdon does not look 100% healthy. And if the Pacers have any chance of winning this first round series, they're going to need more production from the Holiday brothers and Doug McDermott. But I don't know how much confidence I have in these young players. And with all the injury question marks right now, I'm going to have to admit that the Pacers aren't really as impressive as they were at some points in the season. The Miami Heat, on the other hand, have had the resurgence of Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, and one of the best 3-point shooters, if not the best 3-point shooter, in Duncan Robinson, playing really well. They have a good mix of young players such as Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn to go along with some savvy veterans like Jimmy Butler, Kelly Olynyk, and Goran Dragic to kind of make a very rounded, very even team that has pretty good depth. So I kind of have no choice but to pick the Miami Heat to win this series, but what's going to be hard is to pick out how many games are the Miami Heat going to win this series. Unless we see vintage Victor Oladipo or some type of crazy production from TJ Warren, and he continues to carry them like he's been carrying them in the seeding games, it's going to be very hard for me to see the Pacers winning more than one game, especially when there is no home court advantage this year. Typically, when the team plays their home games, you expect them to win at least 1, maybe 2 home games, but since that does not exist, I feel like the teams that are going to win on a night-to-night basis are just going to be the teams who simply have a better roster. And I think we're going to see that reciprocate throughout the rest of the NBA. I feel like we're going to see a lot of shorter playoff series that are probably going to end in 4 or 5 games. And I don't believe we're going to see a lot of series, especially in the first round, go to 7 games. Unless the teams are really evenly matched. With all that being said, TJ Warren is probably going to be the key factor. If he continues playing lights out the way he's been playing throughout the bubble, then they possibly have a chance of maybe winning 2 or more games. I really like the way the Heat played TJ Warren. They basically just gave him a bunch of mixed looks. They have a lot of length and experience to throw at him. Oftentimes you saw Iguodala guarding him. You saw Bam guarding him, which was actually pretty effective. They could throw Derrick Jones on him. And if they really want, they could even put Jimmy Butler on him to keep him from scoring. For those reasons, I'm going to have to pick the Miami Heat to win this series in 5 games. I'm really excited to see how this series turns out. I'm trying to see how Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren handle their emotions in the heat of the playoffs. No pun intended. And I'm going to continue to post more videos regarding all of the other matchups around the league. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Likes help the YouTube algorithm, so I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, man. I'm gonna see y'all.
Know it if you gon' blow it on me. Majima, that's me. Majima the king. The grand is my scene. But I'm coming to sunshine. Green the tree. Up in the banyan. Up in the B. I be up in the bag. Hey, in the VIP. Look at you be standing over there in that white dress.